headlines surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no. Stuffing things in Griffin basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
Alonso hits it through the right side to win it. Ball game. An unbelievable come from behind victory in the bottom of the ninth.
You got to make an adjustment.
Oh, he was looking for the heater that time after back-to-back curveballs. Colton Cowser has struck for a 3-run homer.
Right on cue, fastball.
Yep.
Or you can do that.
Courtesy of Masson and Peacock / NBC Sports. That looked like it was going to be an absolutely gut-punch, dreadful weekend. An unfathomable weekend for the Baltimore Orioles. And while, still could have been better when you think about what happened on Friday night. You probably switch out Friday night for Saturday. You could say coulda, shoulda, would have on Friday and absolutely shouldn't have on Saturday, but that's baseball, Susan. And the Orioles do come away with a 4-game split against the Blue Jays. They do not give back all of the momentum of winning 5 of their first 6 on the homestand. They finish the homestand 7-3. Those are positive things as long as you can sustain them. And one of the things the Orioles had struggled with coming into this homestand had been getting a juice win and following it up. And backing up that juice win with winning more ball games and turning it into the momentum that you believed it should be. You'd see the Orioles win a dramatic game, and you'd think, boy, this could be the one that really gets them going. And until Memorial Day, you really didn't see them. Like, the truth was, you could sort of almost assume that, it's just as likely they'll turn around and lose. And to be fair, we kind of lump everything in from the Tigers and the Rays series. But they got the juice win on the walk-off on Sunday and then turned around and lost the game that night, game 2 of the doubleheader. But then they got the juice win of multiple comebacks, dramatic extra innings on Memorial Day, and they did turn that into sweeping the Rays. They did build momentum off of that moment. Do the Orioles build momentum off of an unfathomable comeback win on Saturday against the Blue Jays? They turned around and won another game on Sunday. Maybe made it a little bit more interesting than we needed it to be. But a win's a win. And can they carry that over as they still have work to do? This is the problem with they can't just sit back and say, well, now it's okay to play 500 baseball. They still have a lot of work to do just to be competitive. Like, that's the reality that faces this baseball team, is that you can feel good about a 7-3 homestand and say, all right, progress was made. And I don't disagree. And I maintain the thing that I kept saying last week, even when we were out at Ridley on Friday, and shout out the PLL and WLL. We had a great time out there. Yeah, got a nice win for the Whip Snakes on Friday night, and a win for the Charm in overtime on Friday night.
gosh, what a game that was. My God.
I did not get to stick around for that one. Did you stay for the whole thing?
I did not stay for the whole thing. It was gonna be a little, well, I mean, it would have been a long late night. I did see Sidney Black's first quarter hat trick though, so that was impressive.
Right.
But yeah, it was a slow start. A little bit of a slow start for the Charm, but yeah, that was game of the year type.
And then after scoring 17 on Friday, the Whipsnakes turned around and won again on Saturday.
Talk about stacking wins.
That's right. That's exactly what that is. So a nice weekend. They're now 3-1 on the season. We had a great time. Really did. Had a great time out there. But, even on Friday afternoon show, when we were lamenting a lethargic offensive performance from the Orioles on Thursday, my response was, yeah, but I'm going to tell you, I still think the bigger story is Chris Bassett getting the job done. And, look, we're going to get to 3 up, 3 down coming up here in a few minutes. Trevor Rogers on Friday night, it's very difficult to discuss because for 6 innings, you saw maybe not, Trevor Rogers ace caliber stuff, but the type of stuff that if he can give you that, he's a solid middle of the rotation pitcher, which I think within reason was what you could have expected from Trevor Rogers coming into this season. I think it was too much to believe he was genuinely an ace. I think all of us knew that needed, if there was going to be one in this group, it was going to have to be Kyle Bradish. And, obviously looking more and more of that part. Goes up on the board for Sunday. He was spectacular, did not allow an earned run. Phenomenal. Phenomenal stuff from Kyle Bradish. Pete Alonso speaks for I dare you. Let me
check the box score again.
I mean, it's Brandon Young, really, is what everybody would say. That Brandon Young. The problem is, if you make it Brandon Young, it doesn't at all tell the story of the game. Like, it has nothing to do with the story of the game. So, I was watching, as I think everybody knows, I was at Cub Scout camping this weekend. Thank me for my service.
You're the Cub? You're Mr. Cub?
Yeah, they call me Ernie Banks. Yeah. That's what they call me.
All weekend, that's what they
call me. Ernie Banks. Y'all remember my Ferguson Jenkins story. He's not Mr. Cub. Ernie Banks is Mr. Cub. But Ferguson Jenkins.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Second? Is he above Sammy Sosa? Is he above Ron Santo?
Right,
I would assume Ferguson Jenkins. Andre Dawson. Shit. Oh, I just said the S word. Ryan Sandberg.
You're allowed to do that, I guess.
Anyway, what is the list of the greatest Cubs of all time? Does anybody
probably all the ones you just said, right? I mean,
did Rizzo stick around long enough that he's even in the conversation? He's not a Hall of Famer.
He did win a World Series.
And that's the thing, right? Like, none of the rest of them did.
Jake Arrieta, obviously.
I mean, Jake Arrieta was a massive part of them winning a World Series, man. Dexter Fowler, scumbag. Yeah. Deal with him in a second.
Obviously, a known Blue Jay as well, of course.
Well, I don't know that that's what they were trying to, as much as it's just like, he was around. Anyway, the moral of the story being, Ferguson Jenkins to me is Mr. Cub because he, of course, once upon a time, I think famously everybody remembers, he remodeled my backyard.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I came home from work, and a baseball Hall of Famer was laying rocks in my backyard. And I said, excuse me? Can we, what's going on here?
You did a good job?
I was not thrilled with having the rocks in the backyard. Not
with the
not
job.
His effort.
Just with this.
Just with
the fact.
What I would say is this wasn't discussed with me ahead of time. Now I acknowledge in Arizona there's no grass, right? Like,
so what did you want? Yeah, you just wanted dirt.
Yeah, I was kind of fine with the dirt, right? Like, because then, if I was a young man at the time, right? Like, I was in my very early 20s, early to mid.
Now you get extra rocks in the backyard. You can just throw around if you want.
I lived in Arizona from 23 to 25, if I remember correctly, something like that. And I was in a phase in my life where I did a bit of carrying on, right? Like
you weren't Cub Scout camping?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't Ernie Banksing it. I was doing a bit of carrying on, and so let's just say, for example, perhaps I had some folks over. Didn't do that frequently, but we normally went out. But every now and then, because I lived in a little apartment, but every now and then you might have some folks over, right? And you're doing a little carrying on, and maybe say the bathroom is being used, you know? And you you've had somewhere between 200 to 300 light beers on the evening.
I'll take the under 300.
Most nights.
I mean,
most
combined
nights.
or individually?
Well, I mean, individually, let's just say I had somewhere between 4 and 27 light beers.
Okay, all right, that's a more
right.
specific.
And you,
Yeah,
now,
me.
no.
Oh, okay.
I now need to relieve myself. Well, in these apartments, you have these nice little fenced-in backyard areas.
Mm-hmm.
The bathroom, in these situations, when you've had somewhere between 4 and 34 light beers,
Oh, it's 34.
you might be in a position where you don't have a lot of time, nor do you have the mental processing to figure out what to do other than to just report immediately to a place where you might be able to dispose of urine. And the backyard, when I first moved in, was an option for that, right? When they laid down the rocks, see, I didn't keep my tennis shoes on when I came into the house. So putting on...
Got it. It was a production.
Yeah. It just created
Did it stain the rocks too, maybe, I guess?
I wasn't really worried about that.
Oh, okay.
I never really discussed that topic with Ferguson Jenkins. I never did
You went Ferg.
a breakdown of whether or
What
not
am I supposed to do now?
I was urinating on the rocks. Like, that never came up in conversation, believe it or not, when we would go have pizza at Old Chicago in Mesa, Arizona, which is our regular spot, when I would go out with Ferguson Jenkins. That was a thing that happened in my life.
Old Chicago still around?
I don't know if Old Chicago. I imagine it was very popular, very successful location. And given that the Cubs still do spring training in Mesa, Arizona,
Looks like it's very much still around.
Yeah, I'm not
Old
surprised.
Chicago pizza and tap room.
It was lovely. It was a lovely.
Looks like they probably
location.
renovated. Looks like they've.
Well,
like
how
it
would
looks
you
more
know?
modern.
You don't know.
Well,
what
it
looked
just
like
looks
in-
more modern to.
You have no idea.
Well, I mean, it looks like because you know how
You
like
don't think
all
that-
the Taco Bells now are like all cookie cutter stuff. Like that's what
Mhm.
it looks like now. It looks very cookie cutter.
Well, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Moral of the story being, I was Cub Scout camping on Saturday.
Chandler, Arizona.
They had multiple locations.
Oh, so I'm looking at the Chandler one.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe the Mesa one.
They definitely
I looked
had.
up Mesa.
Now, maybe they got rid of the one in Mesa. But
Yeah.
the one in Mesa was our stomping grounds.
Oh, maybe they did.
Because-
So it's only Chandler and Goodyear apparently in Arizona.
Sons of bitches. Did the Cubs not train in Mesa anymore? Did they
Wonder if the
move out of
Cubs changed.
It was part of the reason why it existed in Mesa, was because
okay,
that's where the
yeah.
Cubs were at, I believe, Ho-Ho-Com Park. I don't. Maybe that wasn't what it was called.
Yeah, Mesa, Sloan Park. Now Sloan Park.
Why would they move Old Chicago out of the location? I feel like Brian Windhorst here, right? Like, what's
Why
going
would-
on in Mesa? What's going on with Old Chicago? I was at Cub Scout camping, doing my Ernie Banksing, and I was watching the game, and I think some of the Cub Scouts may have learned curse words from the number of grounded into double plays that the Orioles hit into during the course of the game with the bases loaded. I was made aware by Jacob Calvin-Meyer that until the bottom of the ninth inning, Pete Alonso had been 0 for 8 as an Oriole with the bases loaded. No longer, though. Now a very solid 1 for 9. Yeah, Brandon Young probably was the best Oriole on the day, but just does not reflect at all what happened in the baseball
So
game.
it should have been Kobe Mayo because he's the
He
one
got
that-
hit by
yeah,
a pitch,
he got
and
hit
that's
by a
what
pitch and started the rally.
Well, the truth is it should have been Jeff Hoffman, but the rules
Yeah.
prevent us from such things. Hey, Jeff. Love you, buddy.
No, it looks like it is still around.
I'm glad. This is the important
I
stuff. This
I
is
think
the
s-
really...
I think it is still
You
around.
should definitely do your masturbating with Old Chicago. That should definitely be... Find a picture
Wait, maybe
of
it's not around. I don't know. I can't tell.
Mm.
It's still got a Yelp page, but it hasn't had much activity since 2009.
I really regret not taking a picture of Ferguson
Got
Jenkins
really
remodeling
low.
remodeling my backyard. He did retweet it.
Maybe
at
it
one
did
point.
close. It's got really very poor ratings.
What?
On Yelp?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's sad. It was a lovely establishment.
Majority 3 stars or few. A lot of there's 4 stars. Not a whole lot of 5 stars.
Maybe it's because Fergie Jenkins stopped going there. That might be part of the problem. Got to tell you, man, there was nothing quite like sitting down at a table.
This person wrote an
At Fergie's
essay,
table.
a 1-star essay.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah.
Rough times.
Yuck.
Can we talk about the Orioles?
Ends with yuck.
We really just want to talk about Fergie Jenkins and my relationship with Fergie Jenkins. who I got to tell you, man, I apparently remembered it. Look, see if he can find it. See if his Twitter is still exist, because he definitely retweeted at one point me telling the story of him remodeling my backyard. That could be our masturbating today. That could be the case. I don't know. Or a picture of a nice Chicago pizza, something along those lines. Maybe don't commit to anything early. I don't think we did it on Friday. I think we've really struggled. I think we have not committed to the bit the way that we needed to commit to the bit.
No, I think we're doing good.
Pete Alonso. He was man of the match for Saturday. Man of the match is brought to you by CountySports.zone. High school sports season in the rearview mirror, but all summer long they'll have updates for you, news. Start getting ready for football season in the fall. CountySports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Orioles back within 4 games of 500 at 28-32. They're off tonight before they travel to Boston to play 3 against the Red Sox starting tomorrow. And then they'll go to Canada after that, play the Blue Jays in Toronto this weekend. And the point now is they can't afford. At worst, they've got to be playing 500 baseball. They've got to be giving themselves a chance to go on hot stretches and have another 3-7, or sorry, not 3-7, 7-3 homestand at some point. They don't have the time, particularly when the first thing that comes up is, what are you going to do at the deadline? And what's needed at the deadline isn't the margins. This goes back to like the year the Orioles acquired Gerardo Parra. They don't need Gerardo Parra. They need frontline starting pitching. And there's maybe danger in the fact that the Orioles have pitched so well at home over the last 10 days, because perhaps that makes someone in the front office say, see, I told you so. I told you. But the goal for this team should have never been just getting in or being competitive for a playoff spot. This speaks to what we were talking about last week. Resetting and moving the goalposts back. 2022 and 2023 was when their priority could be getting in. Actually, by the 2023 at the deadline, the priority shouldn't have been that, just because the team was so stinking good. The priority should have been winning the American League East, having a chance to win the pennant. They didn't put together a team on paper that was good enough to do that coming into the year. But you can't suddenly say, well, you know, we failed the last couple of off seasons, so we can't. At some point, you've got to decide that you're going to try to do that. In order to justify that, the Orioles can't be sitting. They can't play 500 baseball between now and. Actually, the deadline isn't July 31st this year, is it? It's like another date. I want to make sure I have that right. MLB trade deadline 2026. It is August 3rd.
Oh, wow.
Don't know why that is. Was it a late start to the season because of the World Baseball Classic?
Season started on the 26th of March. So.
I don't know the story.
Because it's a Monday and no one plays?
They
I mean, I'm sure somebody plays, but the Orioles are off that day apparently. So
maybe nobody plays. Maybe that is the idea, is they were trying to find a way to do this so that they didn't have the awkward everybody's coming off the field.
Yeah, right.
Like,
let's see. August 3rd is a Monday, and now there's still, like, I don't know, 14 teams playing.
Are they all playing at night?
Yes, all are playing 6:40 or later. The deadline is 6 p.m.
6 o'clock.
Yeah.
So it does avoid the awkward pulling guys off the field.
But that's still going to happen in, like, I don't know, if somebody gets
yeah,
dealt
somebody's
Friday
going to get
night.
dealt on
Yeah.
Sunday. You're 100% right about that. That is still going to happen. I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer. Maybe it's just because they're trying to encourage more teams. This might be the give. Remember, there used to be the August 31st deadline.
Right.
They got rid of that. They went cold turkey in getting rid of the August 31st deadline. Maybe some of these teams said, hey, it's a little bit unfair to us because we didn't fully know exactly where we were on July 31st. We used to have the second deadline. Could we negotiate a little bit on this? And so baseball said, all right, we'll give you I mean, it's really 3 days. We'll give you 3 more days.
So soon they'll get a couple more days.
And it gives them a weekend series, right? Like, out of it. I don't know. I don't know what the reasoning was, but August 3rd is the deadline. They can't play 500 baseball between now and August 30th or August 3rd because then you're going to be sitting there saying, well, you're still 4 games under 500. In order to justify what this team needs to do to give themselves a chance, the Orioles have to get above 500. Get back into legitimate contention. Now, I still have doubts about their ability to do that, but if they pitch like they pitched for the last 10 days, then they're going to have the chance to do that. That continues to be the story. The results are good. The results set up by the starting pitching. The bullpen, not so great. After it was a very bright spot to begin the season, the last 10 days, the bullpen, oddly, has kind of sort of defaulted back to what we thought it was going to be before the year began. Now, they'll presumably still get Ryan Helsley back at some point. That does help a lot. Dietrich Enns chooses to at least stay in the organization. And so, you'd hope. I don't know what to make of the week that Ynier Cano had. Obviously, it looked like he was hurt, but was he? I don't know. We'll have a whole conversation about that in a minute, too. The bullpen disappointing, but the starting pitching, phenomenal. I mean, really phenomenal. Other than 1 inning from Trevor Rogers, which we can't pretend like it didn't happen, and we're not going to second guess that. He was at 70 pitches.
Yeah, I guess.
And I know he said,
but he'd been
awful.
Like he had been
I understand what you're saying, but when you're playing a 4-game series, when you have 2 more days of baseball, and you've got a starting pitcher at 70 pitches. And you've got an off day coming up, so he's not even going on 5 days the next time out. Now, you want to have a conversation about after he gives up the first home run. Like, we can talk about how the inning unfolded, but the idea that they just should have pulled him after 6 innings and said, well, you got 6 pretty good innings out of Trevor Rogers when he had sucked, I'm not going to pile on with that. That is revisionist history. In the moment your starting pitcher is cruising, the pitch count is low, you haven't had an off day, it makes all the sense in the world to put him back out there. And again, after the first home run, or do you start the inning with someone warming up? I don't know. But the idea that you should have just called it at 6 innings, it doesn't make any sense. Any actual sense. If his pitch count was 90,
well, yeah, I'm not saying.
Then we're having that conversation.
I'm not saying pull him after 6, no matter what. But yeah, after it, I mean, yes.
After the first home run is when, after the first home run, you can absolutely discuss whether or not they should have been in a position to have done something.
Or even the double right after the home run. Then you're.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, right? Like, I get it. Completely different conversation. Starting pitching is the story. Period. The starting pitching is the story.
Of course, they did bring in Tyler Wells, and he probably would have given up a home run too. So,
he was good. What day was he?
Was he?
Yeah, I know.
He's not on my list either, so I guess I shouldn't be piling on.
I think part of it is because yesterday we don't even think
yeah.
about, right? We're like, it didn't even happen because the game was 9-1, so we just don't even have a conversation about whatever might have happened yesterday. It's sort of the reality of what you're dealing with.
Wells he gave a 3-up, 3-9. That was Friday. No. Yeah, once they brought him in, he retired the next 3 guys.
That was the out. That was the out. He was really good on Friday.
Good. So
right. They brought him in. They gave up the 4 runs. They bring him in. He quickly gets out of the inning. You're like, all right, that's the Tyler Wells that I thought could be a leverage guy. Like, there's that guy. Jacob Kalvenmeyer for the Baltimore Sun points out that now, after the last 2 trips through, the Orioles no longer have the worst rotation ERA in the American League.
Hang the banner.
And, in fact, have moved all the way up from 30th to 23rd with a 4.60 ERA. And with another really good start from Brandon Young on Saturday, the Orioles are clearly trending in the right direction pitching-wise. That's got to continue. Period. Has to continue. And 2 trips through a rotation does not a full sample size make. Does not make you all of a sudden say, well, everything is perfect. But it makes you feel good about the trajectory. I guess let's go ahead and do 3 up and 3 down since we're talking Orioles right here. Why don't we go ahead and get it out of the way?
Three up
And 3 down.
3 up and 3 down is brought to you by the Costas Inn, where they have a great event coming up with the legend himself, Rick Dempsey. He'll be at the Costas Inn Timonium, the OG Costas Inn, on Wednesday night from 6 to 8 p.m. just to hang out. Autographs, pictures, just Rick Dempsey hanging out, and you'll be eating Costas Inn food. It's hard for me to think of a better way to spend a Wednesday night. 6 to 8 p.m. at the new Costas Inn in Timonium with Rick Dempsey. Go see him on Wednesday. Real quick. I love weeks like this. I love them. Because you're almost nitpicking on some of the negatives, right? Like, you're like, I feel, because I guess when they have a winning record, we always start with the down, then we do the up, right? We do the opposite of whatever they did, correct?
I guess so, yeah.
We
We've been
build
starting
up to the what was the bigger part of the week.
Yeah.
So we'll start with the down. And Trevor Rogers' name is going to come up. I guess let me go ahead and get it out of the way. 3 for me on the down list was Jeremiah Jackson. I'm not done with Jeremiah Jackson by any stretch of the imagination. He went 2 for 13 this week, grounded in some double plays. Like, it was not a good week for Jeremiah Jackson. It definitely appears at the moment as though the playing time is shifting towards Blaze Alexander for good reason. And still getting Kobe Mayo at bats, obviously, as well. This isn't burying Jeremiah Jackson or saying that he's never going to have an impact or that he needs to anything along those lines. But the bloom has definitely come off the rose, and I think the question at the moment is how many regular at-bats do you get Jeremiah Jackson? Last week it was only 13. But Jeremiah Jackson's number 3 for me, 2 for 13. I still think he's a factor. I still think he's part of the story. It just seems like maybe pitchers are starting to adjust to him a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much take the words out of my mouth. Jeremiah Jackson as well is my number 3. Just, still rooting for him. He's obviously had some really massive moments for this team, especially in April. But yeah, hopefully he can settle back in as a reserve and still find a way to help and impact the team. But yeah, Jeremiah Jackson, not a good week, unfortunately.
Trevor Rogers is number 2 for me. And it stinks because it was looking like Trevor Rogers wasn't going to be in this conversation. But the 7th inning counts, and I can't hide behind he shouldn't have been out there. His pitch count was very low. He absolutely should have been out there. And you can't give up 2 home runs like that. And we can have a conversation. I have never it's funny because with when we do pats on the ass and slaps to the helmet, we include coaches on that. We have never included managers in 3 up and 3 down. We've always kept it to players. So if you want to have a conversation about how it was that was handled by Craig Albernaz, I'm all good with it, but it was still Trevor Rogers who was on the mound in a place in the game where he had every reason to be on the mound and failed. Trevor Rogers is number 2.
Rogers is not on my list. I mean, I didn't really know how to measure it because for 6 innings he was really good, and then
even that was he got benefit of some really good defense.
Sure,
I didn't think he was great on Friday. I thought the results were great on Friday,
and it's part of it, I guess. I mean, that still matters.
It does still matter, but then so does giving up a couple of 2-run homers in the 7th inning.
So he just wasn't on my list. And maybe it was because maybe if more of the rotation had been shaky throughout the week, but since this was the only down part of the starting rotation all week, and it's still 80% of it was still pretty good. So I went with 2 bullpen guys. as my 1 and 2. So Anthony Nunez is my number 2. He keeps getting these, late inning, these critical spots late in games, and it seems like he's delivering a little bit less and less. Thursday night was a 1-1 game, and obviously the offense didn't do a whole lot, but he blew the game on Thursday. He took the loss Thursday night.
Yeah, it was tough because his stuff was really good on Thursday.
Yeah. He blew it Monday on the Memorial Day game that ended up going to extras.
So did everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure, but and then he also gave up 2 runs Saturday to make that comeback even more improbable. So it just was not a good week for Anthony Nunez. Talk about results. The results were not there for Anthony Nunez really at all this week. I think he did have 1 scoreless outing, but Anthony Nunez is my number 2.
Yennier Cano is number 1. It was a disaster of a week, obviously, for Yennier Cano. And, again, we can have the conversation about whether or not you should have been putting, after he appeared to be hurt, should you have been putting Yennier Cano in that spot on Friday? We can have all those conversations. But if Yennier Cano is good to go, he also didn't pitch the night before. So he's available. This goes back to that conversation that we had about when you make the choice to put Yennier Cano on the IL or not. If you don't put a guy on the IL, then the way the bullpen shapes up is, hey, which of your leverage guys are available in this spot? Yennier Cano was the guy that was available. Should he have been on the IL? I don't. That's a conversation for somebody else to have. I can't answer that. But he was the guy they called upon, and obviously, it hadn't been good the first time. The weird part is in the second on Friday, he recorded outs, which he didn't do in his first appearance.
Recorded an outs.
That's true. Brutal. Yennier Cano is number 1.
Yes, as well. What it ended up being a 40 ERA or something. 40.5 ERA.
That's not ideal.
For Cano.
Not ideal. The up list was great because there were lots of choices. I struggled because I really wanted to put Colton Cowser on the list.
I did.
He did have the. I'm stunned. He did have. Although I think last week I put him on and you didn't, which is really weird.
Maybe. I went back and forth between 8 different guys.
Yeah, there were lots of options this week, but the defensive miscue on Saturday was just enough for me to leave Cowser off the list in favor of Basayo. So Samuel Basayo. Number 3, he OPS'd 1429 for the week.
Is that good?
I hear that's good. And I know he didn't.
God, the shoulder thing was so scary.
No doubt on Saturday, right? And I know he wasn't in the lineup on back-to-back games, but he also did come in. Samuel Basayo OPS'd 1429 for the week. He's number 3.
Yeah.
I can't believe he's number 3.
Yeah.
Really.
Blaze Alexander went 9 for 20 on the week. Obviously had the 6
went 10
RBI
for 20
game.
on the week, in fact.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
What did I missed a hit in there? Anyway, I went with Colton Cowser. I mean, there were a bunch of guys worthy of this spot. I defaulted to him because he was clutch all week, starting obviously with Memorial Day, and then even with the miscue on Saturday, he helped spark that 9th inning rally with that double down the line, and then obviously another big hit yesterday. So I went ahead and put the Moo Man, the Milkman, as my number 3.
Blaze Alexander went 10 for 20 for the week. He's my number 2.
Oh, I left Blaze off. Shane Baz was my number 2.
Shane Baz had a really good start.
Struck out 9, 7 innings, 1-run ball against Tampa.
Really good start. Nobody's arguing that. Yep, it was a very good start, but it was 1 in comparison. He was in the conversation for me, but it was 1 in comparison to guys that were doing it all week.
We'll see if we're on the same page for number 1 here. Obviously, first career win for the guy. Against the going against Tampa. So yeah, Trey Gibson.
There you go. No, obviously, salute. The answer, of course, is Kyle Bradish.
I guess I should have came in with my Kyle Bradish hoodie today, I guess.
Kyle Bradish. The season really is, if it's turning in concert with Kyle Bradish being Kyle Bradish again. Nothing has changed things more. You go back to them winning that series against the Yankees a couple of weeks ago. Nothing has been more significant than Kyle Bradish solidifying, again at the time, giving you 1 starter that you had faith in, which was 1 more than 0. Now, it's weird that Brandon Young was the next one that joined the list, but take him where you can get him. And at the moment, there's really kind of no argument about Brandon Young staying in the rotation. I don't know where we are with Dean Kramer at this point, but there's no – Brandon Young is not going out of this rotation right now. if there's a conversation, the conversation really becomes about whether or not Kramer goes back in, or for Rogers. That's kind of the debate at the moment, would be Kramer or Rogers.
Kramer was moved to the 60-day IL over the weekend.
Yeah, but I thought he had been out for...
Yeah, so I don't know if it changes a whole lot, but I think the earliest he can be back is like June 21st or something.
All right, so this isn't a conversation for some time.
Yeah.
I mean, the Orioles right now have their 5-star. Actually, what's Povich's story?
Let's see what the latest on Povich was. They're so not a lot, you know.
Yeah, I don't remember hearing his name even come up in conversations.
Nothing recent.
Yeah,
he met with Dr. Keith Meister, to look at his elbow 2 weeks ago.
Doesn't seem good.
And that was the last. He got a cortisone shot. Or no, sorry, he had a cortisone injection. Yeah. Okay. So that was 2 weeks ago. So not great.
Seems
I would
like
say Kramer's, I guess, closer than Povich.
Seems like they don't have to worry about this. They don't have any decision to make for some time. I guess maybe the decision is about Trey Gibson, now that I think about it. Maybe that's who they have to think about.
Is it Rogers versus Gibson?
I mean, that's why Rogers is probably safe for some time, but if there were to be a couple of more brutal starts, then maybe that conversation would be louder. Anyway, Cobb Radish is obviously number one on the up list for this week. We'll get it up at glennclarkradio.com here momentarily. We come back in. There's a Baltimore native, technically. He didn't live here very long, but he was born here, and, of course, he's the son of
he's ours.
Yes, we're taking him. There's no doubt. He's the son of a Baltimore sports icon, and he's getting ready to play for the U.S. in the World Cup. Alex Freeman, the son of Buttons himself, Antonio Freeman, joins us next. It is a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
This is Stan the Fan. You know we talk all the time about our O's stepping up in the big moments, delivering when it matters most. If you've been injured in a car accident anywhere around Baltimore, that's your big moment, and you need someone who delivers. That's why I'm here to tell you about Warnken Injury Lawyers. They fight for Baltimore families every single day. Insurance companies play games. Warnken plays to win. So call 443-RESULTS. That's 443-RESULTS, or go to warnkenlaw.com. When you need results, it's right there in the number, 443-RESULTS.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery, because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
When you feel invisible, exhausted, stressed, or anxious, when you have days that just feel too hard to get through, you are not alone. If you or someone you love is struggling with mental health or problems with drugs or alcohol, help is right in your hands. Call or text 988 to get support whenever you need it. Help is here. Call or text 988. Brought to you by Maryland Department of Health.
This summer, the world gathers on the biggest stage in sports, and only one place puts you in the front row for every thrilling moment. Live Casino. June 9th through July 19th, surround yourself with massive screens, trophy-worthy specials, and arena-sized energy. This isn't a game, it's history in the making. Watch the world play at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Bill Ordine dives in on how different Preakness will be temporarily at Laurel Park and then long-term once it returns to Pimlico. Also inside, Luke Jackson learns more about what Trey Hendrickson will bring to the Ravens. And Karuga Koinange looks at how Samuel Basayo is influencing the Orioles' international signing efforts. Press Box is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region, including your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Monday edition of the program. We actually had to do this a little bit earlier on because of the busy schedule. You might have heard there's a World Cup coming up. U.S. looked really good against Senegal this weekend. Joining us now, or technically earlier, but you're hearing it now, Baltimore native Alex Freeman, part of the U.S. World Cup roster right here on GCR. Well, it's a pleasure now to be joined here on GCR by a young man that we just met for the first time last summer, and now he's getting ready for the World Cup. He is technically a Baltimore native, although it wasn't very long in Baltimore. The son of a Baltimore sports legend. He is Alex Freeman, and he is with us here on GCR. Alex, it's Glenn. It's so great to chat with you again. Thank you for taking the time, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you for having me as well.
Hey, man, can you possibly put into words
technically
like
a Baltimore native?
This happening, and I know it became real, I'm probably before this past week, but when you know it's real, when you get that message, what does it mean to you to know you're playing in a World Cup?
Yeah, I think it means to me the world, right? Because I feel like as a kid, you strive for these moments, and knowing that I'm able to go and represent my country in at home, and at home soil, and in the biggest tournament in the world, I feel like it's something that you can't really fathom, right? But for me, it's so amazing that I'm able to kind of be able to go and congratulate kind of myself, for the whole journey I've been in, and to the family and to the friends, to the people that, have kind of been there on the way, and just be able to know that, all the work and all the sacrifices worth it at the end. It gets you emotional. It gets you, kind of that feeling that, usually don't get a lot. And now that I'm able to kind of gather all of it in, and now be able to kind of, get ready for the World Cup. I think it's time to kind of show, why I got called up in the first place.
I appreciate that. Alex, when did it become real for you? Like, I remember last summer, it was still, hey, it's a goal, it's a dream, but when did it start hitting you like, no, I know I'm ready. I can play against the best players in the world, and I deserve to be a part of this team?
Yeah, honestly, I think it started to begin last year, right? When I was able to kind of, get in a good kind of form with Orlando and national team, right? And I feel like for me, it was kind of be able to have that kind of confidence to know that, I can go out on the field and just, be my own person, right? And be my own player that I want to be, right? And by the end of the season, I was doing very well. I got a couple of awards and also got to score 2 goals against Uruguay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those kind of moments made me realize that, wow, like, I can play against the best in the world, but can I be consistent with it now? And can I just keep going and kind of be that type of player that people can look up to?
Alex Freeman is with us here on GCR. Alex, going over to Spain and joining Villarreal, like, were you at all worried about the risk of, am I going to have the minutes that I need in order to show everyone what I'm capable of doing? Were you so confident in yourself and your ability to play at that level that wasn't something that concerned you at all?
Yeah, I think for me that move was, betting on myself, right? I think at the end of the day, if you don't bet on yourself, right, you won't really, get far, especially in this soccer world. And for me, it was knowing that, whatever I could do, I got to be able to adapt and kind of challenge myself. And I knew that it would be obviously a challenge. And I knew what I was capable of. So making that move, I thought for myself I was ready and just be able to kind of be in a new environment, be in a team that's very competitive in La Liga, and kind of, getting that grasp of European football before the World Cup, I feel like for me was perfect. It kind of tested me and kind of gave me, different kind of, coaching aspects and different kind of philosophies that I needed to be able to come and perform at the World Cup. And now it's, I was able to get, a good amount of minutes this past month. And now it's how can I go in and how can I, not only play good in La Liga, but how can I play good against the best in the world now and be able to kind of prove myself.
What you just said there, like, did you really feel like that step up? And I'm not trying to say anything negative towards MLS, and I'm sure you wouldn't either, but that step up in what you've been doing, and I think a lot of people have talked about the Celta Vigo match and getting the start and 5 for 5 in your duels, but that how much that did to maybe help ramp up to World Cup competition.
Yeah, I feel like for me, obviously, La Liga was the place that I knew, I'd have to work hard. I had to test, my weaknesses and kind of test my strengths as well to make them, stand out. And I feel like, being able to start in La Liga and play games, I feel like it kind of made my confidence go up, knowing that I was able to kind of, get myself situated in that league as well. And now it's how can I translate that into, good form into the friendlies and into the World Cup games, and how can I do that and be able to kind of set myself up good and help my teammates and my team and the fans in whichever way I can.
I appreciate everything about that. He's Alex Freeman. He's with us here on GCR. Alex, we know that you are inherently a Florida kid, right? Like you grew up in Florida, you spent most of your life there, but you talked to us about the family that you still have here and your dad's family who's still back this way. Have you felt like some of the love from the folks here in Baltimore, that it is very meaningful to see you, that we're massive fans of your dad? Have you felt some of that as you've gotten the news about the World Cup?
Yeah, I feel like for me, I've gotten a lot of text messages from a lot of people in Maryland, and it's just so great to see that, they're kind of following my career and everything as well. And it's kind of good to kind of, we stay in contact, so I hear a lot from them. And actually last year when I was playing DC away, it was kind of emotional because, they had a whole suite and probably like 30 people, kind of come to see me play. And I was able to kind of score a goal that game, and it kind of all the emotions kind of, got together, and it kind of felt like, I was kind of, able to make them proud and make them, realize, how much potential I have, not only as a player, but as a person off the field. I got to meet them all, and obviously I met them all already, but it was kind of good to see them after a little while, away from Maryland, but I like to go back to the Maryland, D.C. area a lot as well to kind of visit them, and I got to stay a couple extra days also, after the D.C. game, kind of just to spend time with the family.
Oh, that's awesome.
Everything like that. So
that's
I was
awesome.
able to stay in Maryland, Baltimore area, and kind of just see them. So it was nice.
Wait a second. This is the important question. Can you pick a crab? Like, is that something that you are capable of doing?
What?
I mean,
I do that.
Okay. All right. By the way,
I grew up on crabs. Oysters, crabs, whatever you got, I'm there.
It makes me really happy, Alex. It actually makes me happier that you were offended. It makes me so happy that you were offended by that question, because it says so much about how much it means to you. Oh, I love that.
Alex, my dad made sure that stayed in my blood.
Hey, man, God bless. God bless you. It is what brings us together. We love everything about that. Did you have a phone call when you got the news? Did you have a phone call with your dad? Can you share what that meant? And it was really special talking about, how invested he's been. It's a completely different sport, but how invested he's been in your path. Can you tell us what that was like?
It's actually funny you asked me that, because he was actually there when I received the news in Spain with me.
Oh.
So it was kind of like a good bonding moment for us. He was kind of, I got to kind of project the video of him kind of telling me that, I kind of made the roster, and you just see him kind of running around and kind of being so emotional. And it kind of helps you realize that, you have that kind of family support behind you. And it's so nice to be able to have him kind of come with me so much in my journey and be able to kind of, be there for almost every step. You see him at all the games, you see him, kind of everywhere, just knowing that he's kind of had that support and that love, that's growing for the game as well, knowing that he didn't really grow up playing it, but he's just learning more and more about it. It means so much that he wants to learn about it. It means so much that in that way that he wants to, kind of be part of my journey and part of my success.
That's so cool, man. That is so cool. It's real, right? Like, this is really happening, and it does happen to strike me that the first match is against Paraguay, and I happen to remember that maybe there was a little bit of some bad blood that might date back to a friendly next year. Is there a part of you that maybe is a little bit more excited that the first one's going to be against Paraguay because of that.
I think for me, I'm excited for whoever we play against,
All
right? But we know the games, all the games, in the World Cup are going to be scrappy. It's going to be a lot of people with confidence and a lot of people, that are going to die for their badge, right? And for me, it's to be able to go out and do that as well, and against Paraguay, they're a very good team. So it's about how can we, keep calm, not get any red cards, and how can we just be the team we want to be. And obviously, we know it's going to get physical and all that, that's part of the game. So we got to be able to keep our heads cool and be able to, just play our game and hopefully get the win.
What is it that you think has made, the fact that you're doing this at 21, right? Like, how have you been able to speed up this process? How have you been able to adjust? And I know that you got a head start at playing at a high level at a younger age, but how do you feel like you've been able to get ready for this? And not just being on the team, but you're going to obviously have a massive role at such a young age.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I think that's one of my strengths, right, is adapting to new environments. And I give that, a lot of thanks to my family about that. They've been, I feel like with them, they've also been, able to adapt in different environments. And I've been kind of be able to grow up and kind of see that. And now to be able to, go and kind of do it on my own. And it's something that, that's going to be very, very vital in my soccer career, and just be able to adapt to different scenarios, where it's with national team, Orlando, Spain, just be able to kind of adapt in whatever role I need to play. Right. And for me, it's obviously at a young age, it can hit hard. Right. But I feel like for me, it gives me even more passion and confidence about what I can do in the future, right? Knowing that, I'm achieving this at such a young age, what can the future hold, right?
Maybe there's 5 World Cups, something like that, right? Like maybe there's some serious records that could be in jeopardy moving forward, which is really a cool thought. Doing it at home, and I know it's going to start on the West Coast, right? But doing it in the States, the significance of that to you, I'm guessing if they were playing the World Cup on the moon, you'd be fired up about it. But how much more significant is it to you that you get to do this when the U.S. is hosting the World Cup?
Yeah, I feel like for me, it's something that, I'll probably never experience again, right? It's something that, a lot of these players won't experience again, right? It's just about, that kind of, home feeling, it's kind of like, you're back at home, you're able to kind of see all your family and kind of see all the people that supported you, right? And all the fans as well, right? Knowing that we have a whole country behind us, it means so much, the amount of support we've been getting the past couple months about this World Cup, knowing that it's the biggest tournament in the world, but knowing that the fans are out, especially when we had that opening ceremony, right? When you see all the fans come and support you, it just means so much that you have that, kind of, support system, that's so big and so great and so joyful, and knowing that you have that behind you, and every step and every situation you get in, it just means so much to us, and it just makes us more confident in ourselves, right? And obviously this is emotional for all of us, because this is a dream come true, and now it's how can we take that emotion and put it to the game we love to play.
All right, this is, I have to know this, Alex, because we've had a couple conversations. I've seen you in other interviews. You're such a kind, thoughtful person, and yet you are hell as a defender. Like, you are tenacious. Is it like a flip switch for you? Do you become a different person when you're on the pitch, or is like playing, calmly, is that part of it that you don't want to have too much intensity? It's just about playing a sport.
Yeah, I think for me, it's about, when to be in which situation, right? I feel like for me, it's about, can I be, obviously, as a defender, you can't be nice, right? It's very hard to be nice, and for me, I'm a very physical defender. I like to, kind of put my body in the way, and knowing that, in the games, I can get physical, but off the field, I'm a different person, right? I like to, treat people the way I want to be treated, in that sense, and just be able to kind of, help anyone that I need to help, and just be able to, treat people like, like they're me, right? Like they're a normal human being. And for me, it's just to be able to kind of, I'm a very social person as well. So just be able to talk to people, just about life in general. But when I'm on the field, I think for me, it's a switch that turns on, right? To know that, there's no friends on the field, right? At the end of the day, and just be able to know that, and be able to go into the game and knowing that, there's no friends, and whoever the opponent is, it doesn't matter who it is, I'm going to go at them 100% and just play my game, and just, you can't be nice, you can't be soft. You got to be hard. hard person to go past and just be a physical player as well.
Boy, you have been the embodiment of that, man. There is no doubt about it. Alex Freeman, dude, we're so excited for you. Also, we are kind of, because we got to see you score some goals over the course of the last year. We're also thinking about that. Is there any chance that you have like a special celebration if it happens to occur during the World Cup? It seemed like you were kind of muted, maybe just because it's not that part of your game that we see a ton in these goals that you scored at the international level.
Yeah, I think for me, it's if I score a goal, the celebrations can be anything, right? It's kind of for me, it's kind of the emotion and how I'm feeling after the goal, right? I might just start running. It kind of depends how I feel, because at those moments you kind of, blank out, you kind of zone out. So for me, hopefully I can try to get a celly that I like and try to do, but you'll probably just get me going crazy.
I love
just with passion and emotional.
Well, there'll be a lot of people here going crazy, too, if that occurs. Alex Freeman, of course, follow him on Instagram @_Alex Freeman. I'm so excited for you, so happy for your family, man, and can't wait to see what you're going to do on the global stage. Alex, congratulations from everybody back here in Maryland. Thank you so much for taking the time for us again.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was a wonderful time.
Alex Freeman. Getting ready for the World Cup for the first time in his life. Youngest player on the U.S. World Cup roster. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. John Little Rock said the U.S. attack looked better than it's been in at least 2 years. Really encouraging to see. The back line still needs work. Mauricio Pochettino still has more options to work through in the Germany match. But Balogun looks legit, and Pepe and Balogun is really potent and can score on anyone. I thought Christian Pulisic looked as good as he's looked in a while. I'm not going to do this to myself.
Nah, we got to do it. It's the World freaking Cup.
I'm not going to do this
If not now, then when?
I understand. I'm happy they're in it.
You'll get excited for the Gold Cup next year. That's what you're
Yeah, that's you know what? That's the one they have a chance at least of competing.
They're going to compete in this one too.
Not gonna do this.
Talk about with Drew. Drew made me feel like it does matter. Like
they
are gonna make the knockout stage,
did
right?
Did he say the quarterfinals? He's
yeah, but I think he
insane.
was like, I think we talked him down to the round of what, 16.
16.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I think they got a shot. Like, okay, bud. Okay. Look, man, they scored goals. Yay. Yay. I like that. I have no confidence in consistency. None. And
well, that should make for exciting matches, right? Maybe. I don't know. Inconsistent play means
I don't know if that's what that makes
exciting.
But, yeah, I'm glad they scored some goals. Got that going for us, which is nice. And, yes, as John points out, they do have one more warm-up match before the World Cup against Germany next week.
Is that Saturday or is that?
I think it's Sunday again, if I remember. Hang on.
I'll check. Hold on.
You get right on that. You'll be our official.
No, yeah, I will. I'll be the World Cup guy.
Correspondent.
It is Saturday. Saturday. 2:30.
Okay. So hopefully, yeah, the French Open women's final will be done by then. What time is what time are the Orioles on Saturday?
6th. That would be 3:07.
Well, take it back.
Well, if they're producing exciting soccer, maybe.
Don't get me wrong.
We got a decision to make.
I like everything about that, but I'll be watching the Orioles. That's what I will be doing. If I can. The problem is like anymore because this is the part of my life that I'm in. I'm in the part of my life where it's
more Cub Scout camping,
or baseball. There's lots of baseball. Saturday is my younger son's birthday, and
happy birthday.
I think they both have baseball games on Saturday because there were so many rainouts this year they've had to extend the season a bit. So this usually ends up, or if it happens to be the one time where they have nothing going on, then it's like I've got to go I got to be like, let's go for a hike. Let's go.
It looks like that would be Kyle Bradish Day as well, so maybe you're right. Maybe you do watch the Orioles.
Probably going to be the priority. I had to guess that would be the case. And then like, are all the World Cup matches, are they all late starts?
Yeah, the one is at 3 p.m.
That's the Australia match, right?
Yeah, and that's the one in Seattle, isn't it? Or I guess they're all West Coast. I think they're playing all.
Yeah, there's 2 in LA and 1 in Seattle.
Pulling up fixtures here. Yeah, 9 p.m. on the 12th, which is a Friday, right? Yeah, June 12th is 9 p.m. start against Paraguay.
And then the Friday afternoon against Australia.
And then Friday the 19th at 3 p.m. against Australia.
And
then 10 p.m. on the 25th.
Is that a Thursday?
I guess so.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, the Orioles are off that night, though.
What are we doing? You know, I got another what are we doing? Because then we have some other things we have to talk about. What is the NBA doing?
What?
There is
the NBA Finals, yeah.
There is no Sunday night game in the NBA Finals. No matter how long. This thing could take 3 weeks, and there will not be a Sunday night game in the NBA Finals. Now, this is where I'm trying to look out for the good of society because, truth be told, I'm playing tennis on Sunday nights. That's what I do now.
Is any of the hockey games going to be on a Sunday night?
I didn't look at that. I did not look to see if there would be any.
All right, you check that out.
But with respect, it doesn't do as much for the country. There is no Stanley Cup final on a Sunday night.
What?
Hang on a second. Let me make sure because this only goes through June 7th. Let me check on the 14th.
Is because
if there is
the
a
World Cup
game
starts
6 in the NHL, they would be on a Sunday night. What is going on here? There's one night during the week where we're doing nothing. Nothing.
Do your Tucker Carlson. What are we doing?
Yeah, what are we doing? What are we doing? Who is it? What's that guy's name?
I don't know what that guy's name was on SNL.
Is it Colhane? Is that who that is?
I think so, yeah.
Tommy Colhane, is that his name? Hang on a second.
Tucker Carlson.
No, that's not
SNL. It is Jeremy Colhane.
Jeremy Colhane, not Tommy Colhane. Jeremy Colhane. What are we doing? And I'm supposed to be attracted to that? What are we doing?
Is this the goal now?
It's very good. It's really good.
No Sunday Night NBA Finals. This is the goal now.
Is this a goal now? What? There is baseball being played on most other nights. You know what? There's nothing going on Sunday nights. Sunday nights are wide open. Nobody's got plans. There's nothing else to watch. Euphoria just ended. I'm not even sure exactly what the thought process was. Like, are they doing another season? Are they not doing it? I don't even know what's happening there. We have nothing to do on Sunday nights. The NBA Finals are the biggest event going on until the World Cup starts. What are we doing? I can't. What is happening here? Why? I couldn't. I kept looking like there's got to be a mistake. Like they screwed something up here. They're not really doing an entire NBA Finals. They're playing Game 2 on a Friday when people go out, do things, when every baseball team plays on a Friday night. All of them. Like every now and then on a Wednesday or Thursday, you might have an off day.
Cubs might play at 2 o'clock. You know.
Yeah, maybe the Cubs play at 2 o'clock. Maybe. But like on Wednesday or Thursday, on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, you might have an off day. You might have an afternoon game.
So they'll be going head to head with the Mets and Yankees every night. Like that's
Friday night. They're playing a finals game, and then if there's a game 5, it's on Saturday night. What am I missing? What happened here?
So they have to do.
And this is the other crazy part.
2 off days.
The other great part about Sunday is for the West Coast, you can play the game at a reasonable time. And I know there's not a West Coast team in the NBA Finals, but like, you know, they would always make the argument we can't start a finals game, you know, any earlier than 8:30 because it's 5:30 on the West Coast. It's a Sunday. It's a Sunday night. You can play it at 7. Kids could watch it. Children could watch your product. Maybe choose to fall in love with Jalen Brunson or Victor Wembanyama. What in the blue hell is going on?
Oh wow, I see. So apparently we knew this final schedule back on January 20th.
Why?
Because I don't know, it's TV stuff. And it's the first NBA final since 1970 not to have a game scheduled for a Sunday.
So apparently in '99, last time the Knicks played the Spurs, ironically, they didn't. They had it would if it like had gone 7 or something, or I don't even remember. That was a quick series. That might have been a sweep. they had a game that would have been on a Sunday, but they didn't play it. This is bonkers. Truly asinine that there's no Sunday game in the NBA Finals.
Man, we had 6 months to prepare ourselves for this, and we didn't know.
Didn't concern myself with it until I looked at the schedule for the NBA Finals and said, now again, for me, for your boy, no big deal. I got plans on Sunday nights. So I got that going for me. But the other nights, I tend to be watching baseball. If they were playing game 1 of the Finals tonight, I would have been able to. Well, actually, I'm on WBL tonight. I wouldn't have been able to watch it. So the moral of the story is nothing other than it's insane that there's not a Sunday night.
They should just manipulate it so that if there's a Game 7,
it would seem like
because now if there's a Game 7, it is going to be the exact same time as the U.S. match. Or no, the U.S. match is 3 o'clock on the 19th. Okay, so I guess, no, it won't be. Okay.
Yeah, but still.
I know, yeah.
It's a Friday night.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm old, so I don't do anything on Friday nights. But
I'm not going to.
Griffin goes to see whatever crappy movie is coming out on a Friday.
That's true. That's true, yeah.
This could be I say crappy. Apparently, all the horror movies are great. Everyone loves Obsession.
I didn't love Obsession. Yeah,
you didn't love Obsession?
Apparently, I'm one of the weird.
What was the one this
weekend
that everybody was?
Backrooms.
Backrooms.
Yeah, I think I was gonna probably see that this weekend. I wanted. There was a World War II movie out this weekend.
Oh yeah, the D-Day one. Right, with Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, it was actually. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I like all the World War II movies.
Sure.
So.
Brendan
Fraser was
Griffin
Fraser
always
was very
says
impressive.
Big fan of World War II. Big fan. Loved it. A lot of fun we had. Yeah, all right. Let's move on to the other topics we needed to get to.
Like what? This is the one.
I can't believe there's not a bigger deal being
Is
made about
Tiafoe
this.
going to win today or no? When's he start?
I hope so.
Start right now.
Last one on long one. So
so he's got to wait for this one to end.
No, this one's on Chatrier. So let me double check.
Chatrier.
Double check.
What's the deal? So we're not supposed to call it French Open?
They call it Roland Garros. Yes, I don't. This is the British Open versus the Open Championship. Okay. Like it's what it is.
What do you call it?
At the end of Berrettini Cerundolo, which is currently in the second set.
So we gotta wait a while.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it could be quick 3-setter and be over, but it might be a little bit longer. Bummer. The other two Americans already out today. Svajda and Madison Keys fell apart in the third.
Who's
just
Svajda?
Fell apart. Yeah, it came out of nowhere during this French Open. Zach Svajda, who made it all the way to the round of 16. Wild run before losing to Kaboli today. The two things that we haven't discussed yet. One, obviously, what happened at the baseball game yesterday. And this is tough because it feels like you're supposed to have something to say about this, but I don't know that I have anything to say about this. I think in the end, you could almost hear the frustration in listening to John Schneider after the game. If you missed it, and I can't imagine how you would have because it was being shared everywhere, in the middle of the game, Jesus Sanchez all of a sudden hit with a baseball that was clearly thrown from the crowd. This is in the 6th inning. It was during game action. This is tricky. It's very tricky. Because as we learned, this was a child, not a 9-year-old, like a preteen, maybe 13, somewhere in that range, who had been going back and forth with Jesus Sanchez. And Jesus Sanchez appeared to make a motion as if he wanted the child to throw him the baseball to play catch. Now, he didn't want to play catch in a 2-0 count. This is what makes this entire conversation difficult. Yeah, this was John Schneider after the game talking about it, and what you could sense was something that I deal with frequently with my wife. Like, go ahead.
Can you tell us about what happened with Jesus Sanchez in right field?
Yeah, never know what you're going to see at the ballpark. He was kind of talking with I think it was a 12-year-old kid, I was just told, talking with a kid, kind of going back and forth, and I think in a playful manner, like almost like, hey, let's play catch. And I think that the kid took it literally and hit Sanch with the ball. So not ideal. First time I've seen that. X-rays were negative on his right wrist. So we'll check him out. But he was pretty sore and surprised, and as were we. Ball shouldn't be coming into the field to play anywhere.
It's kind of tough
This is the.
where exactly it caught him.
Yeah, it's kind of like right wrist right down here.
Yeah, I'm not as concerned about that. And he's handling, when I compared to my wife, oftentimes my wife is very angry about the result. As you guys have talked, I've always said that, like, at some point I'm going to just stop doing this show and I'm going to do a shorter show called Process versus Result, right? Where yesterday we know the result was the problem. I'm not sure what to make of the process, but there will be a genuine miscommunication. My wife will say, hey, can you pick up some sour cream from the grocery store? And I'll go get whatever I'll just go pick up a thing of sour cream, and I'll come home, and it was the wrong sour cream. She clearly wanted X number of ounces and this brand, and not fat-free sour cream. She wanted double-fat sour cream. And she's angry. I say, what are you angry about? Why are you angry? You just said pick up sour cream. I've brought you sour cream. Well, yeah, but I always use this type of... I don't know what type of sour cream you use. I'm supposed to be in your brain. She's angry about the result and has no business being angry about it because it's just a miscommunication. It's unfortunate because she's now unhappy and either, whatever, but it's a miscommunication. If this happened to an Orioles player somewhere else, we would be furious. Furious. And particularly if the player was really hurt. It looks like Jesus Sanchez is okay, thankfully. But imagine. I get it. Somebody would joke, well, the Orioles outfielders right now, I don't know who I'd be angry about getting hurt. Leody Taveras. He's been very good.
Colin Cowser's been better.
He's had a really good week, no doubt about that. But if Leody Taveras was hurt legitimately for time because of a situation like this, we'd be angry. But what are we angry about? This is what makes all of this very tricky. And you can sort of hear this in John Schneider, who wants to be angry because he knows this shouldn't happen. But then when he gets the information, he's sort of like, I don't know what to do with this. It should be obvious that no one should be throwing a baseball into the field of play once the action begins. No matter what your age is, that should be something that your parents take you to the game, the parents or whoever it is that's taking you to the game should be able to convey very quickly, hey, it doesn't matter if this guy wants to play catch. And the real question for baseball is whether or not they're now going to step in and say, hey, you can't play catch with fans because the fans can't think that you want to play catch. You'd like to think this is so isolated and so strange that that's not something they're going to do, but I don't know. Maybe there is a conversation that's going to be had about it. Maybe. We'll see. It's incredibly odd. It's an incredibly odd spot to be in. I genuinely feel for Jesus Sanchez, who might have signaled, and through his interpreter, he said, I didn't want to play catch. Well, it might be that between innings he suggested, right. Like you could. But when he says that, he clearly didn't want to play catch.
Yeah.
While there's a batter at the plate. So you feel for him. This kid apparently was kicked out of the game. There's been some talk about whether or not this kid should be. I think most of us within reason should be able to say, hey, maybe you don't ban a 13-year-old from coming to baseball games. Maybe we can...
You ban the dad, right?
Right, that's how you handle it. But yet, we also still know it can't happen. So what do you do with all of that? It's so unprecedented, I don't know where to begin. Should this 13-year-old have been aware the game is in action. You cannot do this.
Yeah.
Yes, but it almost certainly happened in a split second. Maybe this 13-year-old said, like their friend said to him, hey, he wanted to play catch. And they're not paying full attention to the game as 13-year-olds are wont to do. And so all he hears is his friends say, dude, he wants to play catch, and he just throws the ball, not even realizing that the game has started again. There's so much going on here. It's impossible to adjudicate. I can't give you an answer. I don't think the kid should be banned, unless for some reason everything that we've heard, all the reporting that's been done is completely untrue, and we find out later that, like, there's video of the kid's dad saying, hey, plunk him with the ball. Then, clearly, all these people shouldn't be going to baseball games. But based on everything that we've learned, every piece of information that we have suggests this is a genuine misunderstanding and a mistake made by a child. So I'd like to hope that the kid won't be banned. The Orioles will say, hey, this stinks. Try to do something and make good. You know, the kid offers to write a letter to Jesus Sanchez. Maybe the next time the Blue Jays come, the kid and Jesus Sanchez play catch on the field or something like, I don't know. Something to try to make light of it somehow. It's unlike anything we've ever seen before, but I also oddly feel like it's sort of we kind of just have to shrug our shoulders and hope that it doesn't happen again. The only interesting part will be if baseball steps in and says we need to ban playing catch with fans, which would suck. It would suck. At the same time, probably fortunate that nothing bad has ever happened before. Mm-hmm. There's probably a liability issue here that hasn't fully been sorted through. Like, imagine you're playing catch with a fan and somebody else isn't paying attention and walks right in front and gets hit with a ball, and like there's probably more liability involved with that than we've really thought about, because it's just sort of genuine and sweet. Like, we like the idea before the game, or rarely in between innings. It doesn't normally happen in between innings, does it? Like,
I don't know.
It normally happens.
It's like during BP and
Remember in football, Tyus Bowser, a buddy, used to do this all the time in football. Now.
And a bunch of other guys do it. Yeah, like
I get it. Like, you would say, hey, they're not throwing the ball hard. It's not going to hurt someone. Probably, until it does, right? Like, until it does. So, I don't know what to do with this. I think right now it's just unfortunate and just a real bummer, and that's the end of it. But I think that's all I got on this. The other story that we need to talk about, we will when we come back in. We've lost a Baltimore sports legend, as Raymond Berry apparently passed away last week. It was just announced by the Hall of Fame earlier today. Mark Bowden wrote The Greatest Game Ever, a definitive book about the 1958 NFL championship that dedicated a lot to Raymond Berry and the relationship between John Unitas and Raymond Berry. And he's going to join us next to help us remember the late, great Raymond Berry right here on GCR.
This summer, the world gathers on the biggest stage in sports, and only one place puts you in the front row for every thrilling moment. Live Casino. June 9th through July 19th, surround yourself with massive screens, trophy-worthy specials, and arena-sized energy. This isn't a game, it's history in the making. Watch the world play at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills, must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery, because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
This is Byron Warnken. If you've been injured in Maryland, you know you need a great lawyer. Look no further than us, Warnken LLC. You've seen my picture on billboards around town. You've seen me on TV. Now I'm lucky enough to get to be here with Stan. Please give us a call. 443-RESULTS. It is not just a phone number, it's a mission. 443-RESULTS. Or visit us online at warnkenlaw.com. That's WARNKENLAW.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
When you feel invisible, exhausted, stressed, or anxious, when you have days that just feel too hard to get through, you are not alone. If you or someone you love is struggling with mental health or problems with drugs or alcohol, help is right in your hands. Call or text 988 to get support whenever you need it. Help is here. Call or text 988. Brought to you by Maryland Department of Health.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
Okay, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Monday edition of the program. I want to talk about the late, great Raymond Berry here. Few people could do a better job of talking about the late, great Raymond Berry than the late, great Frank DeFord, who shared a little bit about Raymond Berry when the NFL did their greatest players of all time a few years ago. This is from NFL Films' Frank DeFord on Raymond Berry.
I suppose Raymond Berry was the hero to everybody who wasn't very athletic. Berry just didn't look like a football player. And of course, he was blind as a bat. Had not had a particularly distinguished career at SMU. Was not particularly fast. But the most important thing with Berry were these things.
When it comes to pass catching, here's the man they'll never replace. His name is Raymond Berry, and he has the surest hands in football.
His ability to catch a football and to hang on to it. We have that vision of him laid out. That's Raymond Berry. Laid out, going out of bounds, catching the damn thing.
Yeah, that's Frank DeFord, remembering the incredible Raymond Berry. And, of course, we just lost Frank a couple years ago as well. Joining us now here on GCR to talk a little bit more about the life and legacy of the great Raymond Berry. I learned a lot about Raymond Berry from my own father. Look, I have to acknowledge openly, I am 42 years old. I did not get to watch Raymond Berry play football in his career. I learned a lot from my own father, but I learned even more when I read our next guest's book, The Best Game Ever, Giants versus Colts, 1958, which was, of course, about the 1958 NFL championship game, the greatest game ever played, but it was so much about the people that were involved and their stories. Joining us now, he is the author of that book, along with a number of other incredible books. He is Mark Bowden, and he is with us here on Glenn Clark Radio. Mark, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, sir. Thank you so much for taking the time for us.
Sure, it's my pleasure, Glenn.
Mark, it really jumped out at me in reading what you wrote about Raymond Berry that I don't think it's funny now. All we ever talk about is how much quarterbacks are getting together with their receivers. But I don't know that people realize that in this era of football, it was like earth-shattering, the idea that John Unitas and Raymond Berry would, after practice, just go spend all this time working together on the field away from football practice. And how much of an impact. You heard Frank DeFord say maybe Raymond Berry wasn't the greatest athlete, and and didn't have the greatest career, but it seemed like there was a pretty direct translation between these guys and the time that they spent together and the greatness of the two of them together.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it speaks well of both of them. They both made the most of the talent they had. And, you know, in Raymond's case, I really think he was the driver behind that. I mean, he made himself into a great football player as much with his mind as he could with his body. And, you know, he was a thoroughly dedicated athlete. You know, when I went to meet him working on that book, I had been interviewing players. And remember, I was asking them about a game that had been played 50 years before. And I said to Raymond, you may not have much of a detailed memory of this particular game. He says, "Oh, I do." I went down to his office, and he had a 3-ring binder, well worn, for every year he played in the NFL. And in each binder were his meticulous pregame and postgame notes, where he would map out what strategies he had for whatever cornerback or safety was likely to be covering him, and what he was going to do in every given situation. That was one of the things he did. So when he spoke to me about that game, he was referring to detailed notes about everything that happened in it before and after.
What's wild to me as you describe that, Mark, is that I think a lot of people now in 2025 or 2026, sorry, I keep forgetting where we are, would say, right, well, that's, everybody's got that. This is the 1950s that we're talking about.
Now every player in the NFL has a position coach who can, work with him to prepare and specifically for opponents that they're going to face, and who then does a post-game briefing. And don't forget, Glenn, now everybody has access to film, and they can study, what the opposing team is doing, what opposing players are doing. They can figure out moves that they think would be effective against this player or that player. Back in 1958, Raymond was really one of the first football players to study film, and he did it with Johnny Unitas. They would borrow, the team got game film, but individual players never studied film, except Raymond did. And Raymond, all those notes that he took prior to a game came out of hours of detailed study of the film. And remember, he has to thread the film into a projector and project it up against the wall, and none of the tools that people have today. As I wrote about in The Best Game Ever, he really made himself into a great football player.
He is Mark Bowden, and he is with us here on Glenn Clark Radio as we remember Raymond Berry, who passed away last week. It's interesting because the way you're describing it, like I wonder, and I didn't think about it at the time when I read the book, but is there an argument to be made that like Raymond Berry made John Unitas as much as John Unitas may have made Raymond Berry? Like we talk about John Unitas as being one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of football. We don't really talk about Raymond Berry that way, but is there an argument that without one there isn't the other?
I think that's true. I think they made each other better. I think any serious evaluation of Unitas' career has to consider the contribution that Raymond made, and not just to John Unitas, but to the Colts team. I mean, I love the story about how, Weeb Eubank used to send in plays to, he'd change personnel and they'd send a player running out of the field, and they'd tell the offensive players in the huddle, okay, Weeb wants us to run this play next. And that happened one time, and Raymond looked at Unitas and said, that's not going to work. So they ran a different play than the one Weeb had sent in. And Weeb was furious, even though apparently the play was successful. And he asked Unitas, why didn't you run the play I sent in? And he said, Raymond said it wouldn't work. And that was good enough for Weeb, because he knew Raymond knew what he was talking about.
What an unbelievable amount of faith to have. That's really incredible.
I know. Well, then, it's not at all surprising that Raymond went on to become a great coach.
Right.
And coached the Patriots to the Super Bowl. So, I mean, he is, in my mind, And there may be others that, that I haven't looked at as carefully. It's certainly one of the prototypes of the modern football player.
It's interesting, Mark, because again, Frank DeFord. I'll listen to Frank DeFord talk about anything, right? But like in that clip, he talks about Raymond not being the most athletic. But I remember you writing about like how he also focused on that. Like he focused on trying to be as conditioned or really even like muscular as he possibly could in making the transition to the NFL.
He did, and it wasn't just preparing himself physically. Think about this for a minute. Raymond broke down the hand positions that you would be in to catch a football. There's a different hand position if the football comes over your left shoulder, comes over your right shoulder, if it comes to your midsection, if it comes to the lower left or the lower right. You have your hands in different positions. And he would have Unitas throw him passes to every one of those positions repetitively, standing against like a soccer goal with a net behind it so they didn't lose all the footballs, but do like maybe 20 repetitions of every hand position that he would use every day. And so when he got into a football game, this was just instinctive for him.
This is wild. In a way, it really feels like what you're describing is almost like a revolutionizing football, right? Like that Raymond Berry, in so many ways, we don't call it analytics necessarily, but what he did almost seems like foreshadowing to what the game would become and to stockpile as much information as you possibly can have.
Absolutely. With the NFL is such a terrifically competitive environment that if a team has success, like the Colts had in the late 1950s, other teams looked very hard at what are they doing differently? What can we do that they're doing? And this whole notion of film study for individual players, I haven't made a study of it, but I guarantee you that became a common practice for professional football players right away after 1958, 59, 1960. Coaches caught on to it. The technology improved, and it became part of how you prepared to play the game.
Mark, is there an argument, too, about what it did just for passing the ball in the NFL? I feel like that's another part of this conversation that we all know how much more the ball is thrown in the modern era of football, but, like, how much of that maybe can we relate to John Unitas, Raymond Berry, and that connection they had and the amount of time they spent working on it?
Well, their success was definitely a result of the amount of time that they prepared and practiced. But, that was part of the whole revolution of the pro game in the late 1950s. Is the passing game emerged as the primary means of attack. And, it just grew more and more sophisticated. In that 1958 game, for instance, they were playing against the New York Giants, whose defensive coordinator was Tom Landry, who invented these more sophisticated pass defenses that have evolved, ever since. So, he invented the role basically of a middle linebacker because they needed a player who could both rush and tackle, but also drop back and cover if somebody was uncovered coming out of the backfield. So, that there's no mystery why Tom Landry went on and created a dynasty in Dallas. And there's no mystery to why Weeb Ewbank and the Colts were as successful as they were. They were on to something new.
Can you I'm not going to ask you to try to do a math equation to create the odds, but I'm thinking about Raymond Berry, 20th round draft pick, John Unitas, 9th round draft pick. The likelihood that these two humans together were going to change the course of football as we knew it. Can you possibly come up with a way to define that, Mark?
Well, it certainly does transcend their skills because they had to have an attitude of, being willing to put in the extra work and of learning from each other. A guy like Johnny Unitas, who's had a fair amount of success, granted that he didn't have it overnight, but by the time 1958, 56, 57 rolled around, he was already at the top of his game. And yet he was willing to listen to this guy who wore glasses and, who showed up and wasn't the fastest guy on the field. But he said, look, if we do this, we'll be better. We'll have an advantage. And Unitas was willing to do that. And Berry was just born with it. I mean, obviously when I met him years later, just looking at the notebooks that he kept all these years, it shows you what a kind of a meticulously careful personality he had. He was very deliberate about everything he did. And, that personality is what really, I think, certainly helped, if not won the game in 1958 championship, but made Unitas and the team as good as they were.
I'm so appreciative of you sharing this, right? Because I just feel like there are so many people of a certain age that maybe remember Raymond Berry as the coach, as you brought up, who led the Patriots to the Super Bowl before losing to the Bears, but don't understand, like, it not just a great player, but truly changed so much about football. And the impact that he has and the legacy that he has, I think, goes so far beyond just being a successful and Hall of Fame caliber player.
Yeah, I mean, they were revolution agents in the game of football, right at a time when the NFL was just beginning to take off. I mean, that game in 1958, which was the equivalent of the Super Bowl, was played in Yankee Stadium because there weren't football stadiums everywhere. There was baseball stadiums, and it was the off season. It didn't even sell out. And within 2 years, there was a rival league. Johnny Unitas I think he was paid $18,000 to play in 1958. And within 2 or 3 years, Joe Namath got a $100,000 bonus just to sign with the New York Jets. So it shows how the league took off. And it was because of television. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that game went into overtime, the first game ever in overtime in the NFL. And it spilled over into prime time on television and got an audience of millions, and people just were hooked.
Oh, it's such a thrill. If you have not read Mark's book, I cannot encourage it enough. I was still in my 20s at the point where I read it, and it taught me so much about the history of Baltimore football and the Baltimore Colts. We'll link it up on our Twitter account as well, at Glenn Clark Radio. The best game ever, Giants versus Colts, 1958. If you haven't read it, I couldn't encourage it more strongly. Mark Bowden, is there anything that we can plug for you? We really appreciate you taking the time for us.
No, I'm kind of retired, enjoying watching sports on TV and not writing a whole lot right now. I would add one more thing.
Yeah.
When I wrote that book, The Best Game Ever, Andy Reid was kind enough to sit down and go over that game film with me, play by play, sitting in his office. And my understanding of what was happening on the field is informed throughout that book by Andy Reid's insights. And it was also fascinating to hear him talk about, watching the formations on the field, the fact that defenses lined up the same way every play. He said in his lifetime as a coach, he had never seen that happen.
Wow.
and the fact, that he would pick certain players who he felt, might be able to still play in the NFL today. One of them was Unitas, but that most of them would never stand a chance of playing in the game as it's played today.
Probably the case. Mark Bowden, thank you so much for taking the time for us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, Glenn. But happy to talk about Raymond. He's one of the amazing ones.
I might be reaching out to you again for WBAL Radio. I'll be in touch, Mark. Thank you so much.
All right, Glenn. Bye-bye.
Mark Bowden with us here on GCR with phenomenal insight. I mean, really phenomenal insight. And I'm telling you, man, I've read a lot of sports books in my life based on what we do, and that book might be the best book I've ever read. I mean, it's an unbelievable, in-depth dive into the game, into the stories of the players, and on both sides, right? Because, like, you think about those 1958 Giants and, like, Sam Huff and, all of the legendary Pat Summerall, right? I think there were 17 future Hall of Famers, if I remember correctly, between the players and the coaches. Frank Gifford, of course, was on that Giants team. It's an incredible read. And it was the first time, like, my father was an obsessed, or I say was, is. My father is an obsessed Lenny Moore fan. Like, an obsessed. I've talked about it before. The first time I ever saw my father cry was because Joe Ehrman was speaking at his church. I was in middle school, and Lenny Moore just showed up, and my father went to introduce himself to Lenny Moore, and Lenny was talking with him, and then Lenny said, my dad, I'd like to pray with you, and put his arms around my dad, and my dad lost it. Like, lost it. And so, I don't remember my father. Like, he would talk about Lenny Moore all the time. He'd talk about John Unitas all the time. And I'd listen to them. This is a story I've told a lot. When I was growing up, my father's friend Stan, not Stan the fan. I don't know Stan's last name. He was a fan, not the fan. Owned a barbershop on Route 7 in Joppatown. And every Saturday when I was a child, my father would take me over there. Even if even if I didn't need a haircut, he'd take me over. He might just get like a shave. Every Saturday. And we'd sit and hang out at the barbershop with my father and his friends that all came into the barbershop. And I would watch them. When I tell you I have these memories and they are as vivid as anything in my life, I would watch them recreate old Colts moments in the front area of this barbershop. They just start talking about it, right? Like they'd be sitting around and they'd be, hey, remember? And then they'd literally recreate it. And I, because I was a child and I didn't have football, didn't understand the joy that they were conveying and what these moments would mean to each other. There's an iconic tweet that people share all the time that says, like, nothing makes boys happier than just naming athletes. And I say it all the time. It's the truest statement that's ever been made. My buddy Brandon and I, whenever we get together, we just start legitimately, he'll just like tell me, because he's a Pirates fan, he'll be like, dude, and what about Francisco Liriano? And I'll be like, right, and I remember, and that's all we do. We used to sit in his office, do it all the time. And for my father and his friends, it was just talking about the Colts like that. But reading about that part of Raymond Berry's story was really incredible to me, because I don't feel like it's known. It's interesting. I remember we oh gosh, I wish I could remember the name of the author. The author of the Earl Weaver book that came out last year. It was so good. It was such a good book. John Miller, thank you. And not the broadcaster John Miller, different John Miller.
He could probably write
almost would write wonderful books, I have no doubt. But we talked about how, in a way, Earl Weaver kind of created analytics. Like, he believed in analytics before analytics were analytics, right? There's a reason why Earl Weaver loved the 3-run homer. We call it a Weaver, right? Colton Cowser had one yesterday.
And you didn't put him on your 3-up-3?
It's a great point, despite the fact that he honored
a 3-run home.
He honored Earl Weaver that way. The concept was that Earl believed in data more so than a lot of people did in that era of baseball. And this is less, like numeric data and more film that we're talking about with Raymond Berry. But the way that now, like, famously, we would talk about how Ray Lewis would have Ed Reed come over or Jamal Lewis come over to his house, and they would just watch film together. And that was how they would spend the evenings. And we talk about how that was part of what made Ray Lewis great. And we think about that play in San Diego and it being this defining moment for Ray Lewis, because it's not just the play, it's how he intuitively knew exactly what was coming in that moment and was in the backfield before the play ever began, because he was obsessed with watching film and trying to find tendencies. Because Ed Reed was so good at it that he knew what you were doing, could legitimately fake you out, run the opposite way on the field, knowing what you were doing, and then still come back, get into position and make the play. But that didn't exist in the 1950s because you didn't have access to – there was no NFL Plus to go look at. You had to do it all on your own, and that was Raymond Berry. And in so many ways, Raymond Berry was a revolutionary. He created the concept. I will go track down the film and watch it obsessively and watch it with John Unitas so that when I have the opportunity, I'll see something and we'll be able to take advantage of it. And Raymond Berry, who was not thought of as a great athlete by any stretch of the imagination, was not thought of as relevant at all coming out of college, made himself a Hall of Famer. Certainly helped that it was John Unitas that was throwing him the ball. But as you hear from Mark Bowden, so much of that had to do with Raymond Berry and the work that he put in and the trust that he and the rapport that he built with John Unitas and the fact that he caught the ball, as Frank DeFord mentioned in the clip that we played. And the work they put in. Like, it's read about it. The work they put in together. Before practice, after practice, away from practice, just running routes, knowing that, to Mark Bowden's point, hey, there's all these different ways that I might have to catch the ball. I need you to throw it to me this way, so I have to catch it like this. Which now you would think these guys that are working year-round, they're doing that all the time. But in the 1950s, just was not a thought process. Completely changed the game. Safe home to the legend Raymond Berry. John got in. Yeah, there's some other good books. Yeah, Olesker wrote a book about it, and Jack Gilden wrote a book about the relationship between John Unitas and Don Shula. There's plenty of John Unitas books that have been written. I'm not discouraging you from reading any of them. I'm just, man, of all the books that I have read, this was the one that to me was the deepest, most thorough, and taught me the most. And I filed the most away because of it. I know that the only, like, the part of Raymond Berry's story is he was the only Baltimore Colt that was willing to accept the Indianapolis Colts and have a relationship. And I know that was a sore subject for some folks. I think for a lot of people, they understood what Raymond Berry was trying to say, which is just like, they have our history. That's where it lives. And so you wanted to have a home? Like, it's a complicated conversation. And it was never like I'll choose Indianapolis over Baltimore. I don't have any recognition. It wasn't that. I think it's been portrayed in certain ways over the years, and I know it did rub some guys the wrong way, that when everyone else said we will have nothing to do with that organization, we will have nothing to do with that family, the Irsay family, that, he was willing to be involved with the Indianapolis Colts. But it's a really complicated thing, man. That is a very difficult. We all want, you're evil. I understand why you want it to be that way. And it's really funny. It's not like that in a lot of places. Like, the Los Angeles Rams did an event to celebrate the anniversary of the greatest show on turf team, and they all showed up. They were all there. None of them played in Los Angeles.
The LA fans showed up for...
No, the players, the St. Louis Rams, like Kurt Warner and Isaac Bruce. Now, I'd have to think about if maybe somebody from that team was on the LA Rams before they moved. I'd have to do that. Maybe Marshall Faulk might have been on the LA Rams before they moved to St. Louis. Asking me to remember too much.
Come on. Well, you're supposed to.
It's very kitschy. Like, it's just such a narrow thing for me to have a recollection of. It's different everywhere. In from the majority of the Baltimore Colts, they didn't want to have anything to do with Indianapolis. They said that's not us. We have nothing to do with that. That's not our identity. And it remains a sore subject. We're only down to a few that are left at this point of the great Baltimore Colts, and it's a reminder that the history, the records, that's all been hijacked, and it's all living somewhere else, and it shouldn't be there. And I'll never look. The Colts aren't changing their name. They're not changing their colors. There's only so much you can do about that part of it. They're going to continue to do that, but they absolutely could give up the records and the history any day they chose. And I don't want to ever speak ill of the dead. Jim Irsay, everybody said, was not like his father, was a much better human being, did a lot of wonderful philanthropic things, but he had the opportunity to make that right many times and chose not to. Now his daughter has the opportunity, or his daughters have the opportunity to do the same thing. And at this point, you could say, well, who does it even really affect, right? Like, sadly, most of these people are now gone. But there's never a wrong day to do the right thing. I just came up with that one.
Wow.
Never a bad time to do a good thing. I don't know what the actual... It's never the wrong time to do the right thing, I believe.
It's never too late.
I think it's never the wrong time to do the right thing. Is supposed to be the idiom. But I would encourage them to consider that. Safe home, Raymond Berry, and what a marvelous, marvelous football life he lived. Let's wind things down. We'll get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you today by the Stan the Fan Variety Show. Going to do another Tuesday show this week. Stan, Ross Grimsley, and Luke Jackson. They'll be getting together tomorrow at 5 o'clock ahead of the Orioles Red Sox series. You can watch it live, facebook.com/PressBoxSports. It's all brought to you by Warnken Law.
Mark Twain was
Mark Twain.
It's never the wrong time to do the right thing. Yeah. We saw some, I guess, a little bit of PLL history as Joey Spallina finished with 2 goals and 3 assists in his debut. That is tied for the third most points, 5 points in a debut. 2 guys had more points.
Stop it.
And
You're kidding.
Pro lacrosse day.
You're kidding
Premier
me.
League. Their Premier Lacrosse League.
Yeah, sure. I'm not even going to attempt
Both
it.
were last year.
Both were last year.
Yeah, both were last year.
Would be Kavanaugh?
No, but he also had 5 points. He was tied. He did not have more than 5, but he did have 5 points in his debut.
Cursed?
No, not Cursed.
Come on, dude. What are we doing here?
This is your tidbit. Gotta go.
Aiden Carroll.
No, not Aiden Carroll. Sorry, so 2 years ago he debuted with the Whipsnakes.
Malone?
Yes, TJ
Okay.
Malone.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you had been honest with me. I mean, I was guessing rookies from last year.
6 points, and then another one was a rookie from last year. The guy with the record. He had 3 goals and 5 assists, 8 points in his debut.
What are we doing here? What are we doing?
We're doing tidbit. This is the segment. We're doing the segment.
Do they count Bernhardt as a rookie because he was playing football beforehand?
No. I mean, I don't know. How many points did he have in his debut?
No idea. I couldn't possibly tell you.
No, they don't. It's not Bernhardt.
You're not going to believe this. I don't keep track of this.
Well, you should.
Yeah, I'm so sure I should. Christ. I don't know.
I think he was the number 1 pick last year, right?
He was the number 1 pick in the 2025 draft. Why am I blanking on this? That would have been... It wasn't Kavanaugh? Did we...
Kavanaugh was he 2 years ago?
Was he? I thought Chris was last year, and...
Or one of the...
I thought that was the...
Only Chris is on this list. He had 4 goals and an assist in his PLL debut.
But wouldn't last year have been cursed?
No. He was drafted 2 years ago.
I hate you. I hate you. I swear to God.
New York Atlas.
I give up.
Virginia.
Out of Virginia.
Yeah. 2024.
Oh, Schellenberger?
Schellenberger has the record. 8 points in his debut.
I don't even know if he was the number 1 pick.
I thought he was. Wasn't he?
Because wouldn't that have been the same year as Brennan O'Neill?
Oh, was it O'Neill?
I would have assumed that O'Neill would have been the number 1 pick. Maybe it was a different year. You might be. I don't know. It's gonna be great when literally every fact that you had was wrong.
Well, no, these are right.
You might as well.
Brandon O'Neal was the first pick.
Might as well be the trivia host talking about how great Mike Trout was last year.
Well, it wasn't specific to last year, but yeah, he was good. Yeah, Schellenberger was number 2.
Lord.
Pat Cavanaugh went 6th that year.
Okay, and where did Chris Cavanaugh go then?
Chris went. So was Chris last year?
I thought he was last year.
Malone was the 17th pick last year, or 2 years ago.
He was number 10. Holy smokes.
There's a steal there.
They watch those guys play or what? What the hell is going on with these GMs in this league? They're not watching these guys. All right, that it?
Yeah, sure. Let's do a quick hitter. Who has the single season record most return touchdowns in a season? NFL.
It's very random.
Well, I saw it this week, so I wanted to.
Devin Hester.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, you were mad because you couldn't get the other one, so.
It's just very random. It wasn't related to anything.
It's football.
I guess.
Speaking of, new CBS analyst.
Oh, Russell Wilson, is retired from the NFL to go work for CBS. So, good luck to him. Maybe he'll be dangerous on television. I don't know, man. If he has something to offer, clearly he had nothing left to offer as a football player.
So
like he could have just kept collecting checks, but
he's just going to replace Matt Ryan on the.
Oh, because Matt Ryan went to the Falcons.
He's back in football.
Yeah, he went and took a job. I thought they were trying to do a bit where he was still going to be allowed to do TV even though he had a job with the Falcons.
Maybe he didn't want to then. I don't know.
Okay, all right.
But that was how Schefter reported. He said he's going to join Burleson and Cower.
I honest to God could not have told you who else was on that show. I don't know when. I don't know when I stopped. When did I stop? I swear to God, I turned one on last year and like Chris Long was doing it. I'm like, Chris Long is on this show.
He did like the CBS pregame, maybe the CBS Today, like whatever.
That's what the NFL Today is. The CBS pregame show.
So maybe he had like the 8 a.m. through like 10 a.m. slot or something, right? Was that what it was? Maybe he was filling in for somebody that week.
Oh, okay. I definitely was so taken aback. Like, what? Chris Long?
You don't like Chris Long?
No disrespect to Chris Long.
You don't think Chris Long does football?
I just don't think that he has the cachet.
You're like, it should have been me.
Yeah, right? That's really what it is.
People aren't going to listen to Chris Long.
It was just wild, man. I'm like, hey, these used to be like nothing but Hall of Famers on these sets. And now, with respect, it's the sons of players.
You got Cower.
Well, Cower's on CBS. Cower's a Hall of Famer. Burleson was a.
Yeah.
You know, Burleson's
and he
probably
does the Today Show.
That's really what it is.
Or whatever show.
He's more well known because he's a TV personality than his football career. And so he and Chris Long might even be comparable football players when I think about it. It's just that we think more about Nate Burleson because he does the dumb morning show that has nothing to do with sports. Weird.
People watch those.
If you say so. Russell Wilson, to be fair, Hall of Fame caliber player. I think he'll get in. He's definitely had a better career than Eli Manning did. There's no doubt about that. I know Eli Manning won 2 and he only won 1, but Russell Wilson had a better career than Eli Manning. It really is interesting, like how bad it became when he left Seattle, and if that does impact whether or not he has to wait a while, if he ultimately gets in. That will be an interesting conversation. I still think he's a Hall of Famer. Like, I do. He should have been a 2-time Super Bowl winner. Lord.
Threw an interception. It's on him.
Yeah, it's definitely on him. I mean, hell of a career. Hell of a career until he left Seattle. Hell of a career in Seattle, and then nothing. Nothing at all.
Odell Beckham Jr. Rejoins John Harbaugh.
Oh, it's official.
In New York.
All right. No.
So I guess it's a New York reunion, Harbaugh reunion.
Of the veteran wide receivers that were out there, I would say that wasn't the one that I was like. To me, it's Stephon Diggs or Keenan Allen for the Ravens. Like,
guys who could actually like move the needle.
Yeah, that's sort of where I'm at. Like, you did the Odell Beckham thing. I get it. Like, I always have to be fair to this is a different team. It's a different, like, maybe Odell Beckham still has a lot in. I don't know. But if I'm interested in a veteran receiver, it's to me, Allen 1, Diggs 2, but I get it. Diggs definitely seems to be the closest to the prime of his career of this group.
Odell saw how well Dart handled the
A lot of talk
weekends.
about whether or not Brandon Ayuk is just done. Like, is just never going to play football again. Like, he's just
been FaceTiming anybody lately?
He's just that hurt that, like, it's just over. And maybe somebody would argue that Deebo Samuel is still pretty close to the prime of his career, and so he's always worth like the juice might be worth the squeeze there. I don't know. I'd still go Allen 1, Diggs 2 to me, just because Allen gives you something specific that I think you can use, and again, Diggs is the better overall player. All right, let's wrap it up.
Two rival executives who believe Brandon Ayuk is untradeable, Jeremy Fowler says.
Yeah, I saw that this weekend. He's just hurt. Like, it's just done.
Knee issues,
and
he's
just over.
Ghosted the 49ers.
Yeah. All right, we got to wrap up. It's 1 o'clock. What are we doing?
Where do we have to be?
No, shut up. I got stuff to do.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
All right, here's what's coming up totally tubular-wise for this evening. The Orioles are indeed off, so good luck to you. The Women's College World Series has been great. It always is. It's a really good event, man.
Game 7s tonight in college baseball, too, right? Oh, yeah, going on right now. Well, they call them Game 7 still.
Yeah, you think I'm changing the channel?
Yeah.
No.
Well, Tiafoe's not up yet.
No. That is the highlight of the day, is Francis Tiafoe still to come. Takes on Matteo Arnaldi, the round of 16. I believe that one's going to be on True TV because it's over on Suzanne Longland coming up after the Berrettini match finishes. And then Women's College World Series going on right now. Actually, Tennessee and Texas. And if Texas wins, then there would be another game this afternoon to punch a ticket to the. It's for the team that hasn't lost. You got to win once. The team that's lost has to win twice in order to punch your ticket to the final, which starts tomorrow night. And then Alabama and Texas Tech tonight at 7. Texas Tech has the same opportunity. They got to win twice. Alabama's got to win once. The afternoon games are on ESPN and the Women's College World Series. Actually, I assume they're now all on ESPN. I think that was like a placeholder because there was supposed to be
some game 6 and 7
or a hockey or something. I don't know. So I assume they're all on ESPN, but I'll double check that. Non-sports.
Big one for you. Below Deck Down Under.
Yes.
Season 4 finale.
That is a big one for me. You're
on,
right.
Bravo.
That's it?
Yeah. History Channel is doing. I don't know how they're affording so last week was a series called World War II with Tom Hanks, just like a historical, World War II series.
This is your department.
Hosted by Tom Hanks. Now they've got History's Greatest Machines with Dolph Lundgren. So just talking about the greatest inventions of the world.
You got it. That's it?
That's on the History Channel, yeah.
All right, very good.
Those are the two things.
Thanks today to Mark Bowden, and thanks also to Alex Freeman. We'll get it up in the greatest hits section of the
Tina Fey, Marlon Wayans, and Jazz Chisholm on Fallon.
What? What's Jazz Chisholm doing?
Talking about baseball. He's going to say, we don't want a salary cap.
Because otherwise, yes. I mean, I'd go to a Tina Fey, Marlon Wayans tour for sure, but Jazz Chisholm's one of the featured performers. No, I can't. I can't do it.
What if they do specify? He's only got 10 minutes. That's.
I don't know, man. That's you're asking a lot.
You get 25 minutes each of Tina Fey, Marlon Wayans, maybe 50 minutes.
Tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Anything tomorrow? Are we doing anything tomorrow?
We'll talk sports because there's so much going on tonight.
Jeez. Cool. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Live Casino and Hotel, the Baltimore Orioles, Costas Inn, Baltimore Area Highs Dairy Stores, the Leading Edge Auto Body, Warnken Law, 1-800-GAMBLER, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, Cruise Maryland, CountySports.zone, Maryland Department of Health, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Monday evening. Go Francis Tiafoe. Duke sucks.